My mother's sick, and she's struggling with her health, and I need her to come live with me. She doesn't want to because she's scared our sister Lily will not be able to fend for herself. So me and my mom, we make a deal. Hey, if Lily comes and lives with us, then please, will you move to the city with us so you can get proper treatment? Well, Mother agreed, but let me just tell you right now, Lily is an absolute disaster. I thought that my sister had changed, that finishing school and getting married would mean she would learn how to take accountability for her life. But she doesn't seem to care. All she does is stress my mom, and I've gotten to the point of cutting off communication with her for years. I feel as if every time she's involved in my life, she makes it a mess. But recently, I've been forced yet again to make contact with her. My mother's very sick, and where she lives, it's very difficult to get good treatment. I left that country over 5 years ago because of the lack of resources and extreme unemployment. I wanted to take my mother with me, but she gave me excuse after excuse. The biggest one is that she has to take care of her grandchildren. My older brother is better, at least he sends her food and takes her to the hospital when she's sick. It's only his wife who treats my mom like she's not her mother-in-law. Mom says that she's happy and living a fulfilled life, but I feel she should be taken care of here. My husband George completely agrees, yet even with the threat of her health, Mom says that she cannot leave her home country. So, in a bid to convince her, I've returned home after 2 years and things are not looking good. More young people litter the streets with no aim, some with parents that can't afford to send them to school. The economy is reaching a drastic decline, and I want to get my family to a better place. It did warm my heart to see my nieces and nephews as well as old friends. Many people want to leave and are trying to ask me for advice on how to do it. It saddens me because, well, I don't have the answers. The person I was the happiest to see was my mom. My mom looked very frail, like she had aged an extra 10 years, but when she saw me, she smiled. A smile that reached her eyes. She told me that at least she would be able to die after seeing me. Of course, I was mad that she would dare say something like that. She's barely in her 70s. My mom and I were catching up, and I was messaging her when the last person I wanted to come see me came. She was drunk, out of her mind, such that when she saw me, she starts to laugh and say that today she was in the presence of royalty. I knew it. She was still up to her old antics while Mom was sick. The jet lag had annoyance and got a hold of me. I grabbed the bottle in her hand and threw it outside. She screamed that I would have to buy her 10 times more than what I lost. The neighbors who were present looked at her house to see what was going on. She was making a lot of noise, singing nonsense while my mom wanted to sleep. So I asked her to go back to her house, but she told me that she did not have a house. I asked if she had a job at least so that she could take care of her kids, and she said no. She did say that she had completed her course in admin and PR, but she did not have a job. Couldn't I blame her? This place was a wasteland. No wonder I left 5 years ago. 5 years ago, all I had to my name was a teaching degree and a dead-end job. I could not even afford my own place, so I stayed with Mom in the cramped 2-bedroom house. But I got an opportunity to teach out of the country, and I grabbed it. Once I got there, I worked hard, did more courses to improve my skills, and now I'm working at the tutoring center that I own with my husband, George. George is from the same country as me, but we met while we were overseas. Quickly became friends and fell in love. I had returned home only for my wedding, and once, years ago, after my sister's drama, she humbled herself the next morning and asked for an apology. There was nothing about her that screamed defeat. She lamented over failed marriage, as always, but forgot how lucky she is to get out alive. She felt so bad about not being able to provide for her children, even though she was their mother. She also told me how every day she worried that Mom would not make it. This was when I asked her to convince Mom to come back with me so that we could at least save her life. It's been days since I've arrived here, and my mom has been stubborn as usual. She says that she cannot work or contribute anything while there, plus she wants to die on the soil of our family. But then, she suggested something bizarre to me. She asked if I could take Lily with me and get her a job so that she could take care of her children. If I did that, then my mom would agree to move into the city and get proper medical treatment. She has me in a tight spot here. I told my husband about it, and I'm scared that if I allow Lily to come live with us, I'll be opening another can of worms. On the other hand, she's made a pretty strong case. My heart bleeds as I realize that if I do not help her, she'll stay here where there are no opportunities. She'll still be swept up in the illegal stuff that people get in to make ends meet. The thing is that in the past, she's been jealous of me. She's made messes that I had to pick up, but what I saw yesterday showed me that I don't want her to stay with my mom. So yeah, I guess I have a big decision to make. What's up guys, Mr. Reddito here. So I have a few updates. The first update came out a month later. So let's go ahead and jump into that update now. In the end, I decided to help my sister move here. I made sure that she swore off alcohol at first and that she passed all the medical exams that they had to do. Furthermore, I asked her to agree to a guidance counseling session with one of my friends, so that she can adjust to the lifestyle here. Despite our history, I realized that she is still my sister and I still have to do all I must to help her. We managed to get her a job as a temp in a startup company, but what she needs to do is get her resume in order and attend her interview. She already has a wonderful regard for the English language as well as some French. In our country, French is one of the official languages, by the way. It did cost a lot of money to come here, and I mean a lot. I and my husband are still not financially comfortable. In fact, we still rent and have not gotten a house of our own yet since the tutoring center is so small. Today, she went for an interview. I think that within a few days, she'll have settled into the new company. I think that it'll be a success. We spent a lot of money that we don't have to get her here. She says that she's doing all of this for her kids so that one day she may stay together again. I hope so too, because she had the worst luck when it came to her husband. Her husband was a soldier, and when he married her, he was earning good money. He got her a house and they settled down, had kids, and were happy. Unfortunately, her husband was dishonorably discharged and escaped jail time with basic luck. She started selling food so that they would have some money while he drank the money that she made. In the end, he started to hurt her and the kids. Then, when he suspected that she was cheating on him just because she was getting more money from her sales, he decided to set the house on fire with her and the kids in it. She and the kids escaped, but he was not so lucky. He was a very miserable and troubled man, and I feel that she has not gotten over the trauma yet, and it might be a problem for her going forward. It's still early days, let us just wait. Next update titled, Need Help. For some reason, my sister keeps on failing her interviews. The reason being is because of her certificates. Even though the institute she went into is recognized in our country, the certificate holds no value here. Most companies want to offer her probation where she is paid peanuts. I can't say anything about her, but I know for a fact that she's darn good at her job. I can't hire her, but she's been helping me part-time with some admin stuff at the center, making my life so much easier for me. I wanted to ask what would do better for her to do. Either go back to school or redo her courses. It'll be a very long time, and then afterward the jobs would want her to have experience. Or take the jobs that exploit her so she can earn some more money even though there's no opportunity for growth at those companies. Or we've been thinking that she could change fields completely. What are some career fields that you would recommend that are easy for a person to start with who doesn't have much experience? She can speak English and French, can do admin work, is computer literate, and is eager to learn. She just wants something that pays a bit better. She's willing to try anything, even if it strays away from what she studied. Update. I give up. Last week I made an update where I was helpless about her work situation, but it seems as if when I'm talking to her, I'm talking to myself. She's revealed several lazy habits that I thought she had under control. I recently found out that she's not been applying for the jobs I sent her. All she does is stay home when we're at work and eats. Not only that, but she's made new friends where we stay. I've known those girls that she's friends with for the past few years, so I told her that she has to cut them loose now. They're always partying and who knows what. None of them have jobs, and they're always with strange men at their apartment. She tells me that she stopped drinking, but last night I saw the stain on her clothing. Her excuse was that someone spilt it on her. I feel like I'm babysitting a child now. I come home tired from work, and the last thing I want to do is shout at her. I know that she has so much potential. She tells me that she really wants to get a job. But what she says and her actions are the opposite. When I shout at her, she starts crying, and suddenly I'm the bad guy, and there I go apologizing again. I asked her if I now need to call Mom and tell her that she's stressing me here. All the places where I told her to apply are ignorant when I try to track the status of her application. Is that not suspicious? Not only that, but I found out that she did not show up for the first interview, so now I'm wondering if she's not been lying about the interviews so that she doesn't have to work. Well, ever since she came to stay here, everything in our household utilities have gone up, but I don't see her making an effort to find any work. She feels that work that is below her qualifications is not good enough for her, forgetting where she comes from. Update number 4. She got a job. So, finally, she got a job and she's been working there for the past week. She said that she's going to use her wages to pay for her school at kids' schooling, and to send money for them to buy food and clothing and whatnot. At the moment, Mom is staying with the children at her brother's house in the city. I'm very happy that she's taking the initiative to change her life. She actually got a job working for one of my clients. She has a son who's 12 years old and comes to my center after school to study. I've been helping him for the past year, and I'm good friends with his mom who owns a coffee shop. She's been looking for someone to work and manage her coffee shop for a while. I suggested my sister, and well, she got the job. This time, she did not turn her nose up. I think it's because of George. George is a very soft-spoken man and has a different approach to me. He talked to her, and suddenly she was getting her act together. I'm not surprised. It's like George has a silver tongue when it comes to people. She's been working hard all week and has sent her money to her kids back home. I spoke to Mom, and she said they received the money. Concerning counseling, she's been making some progress from what my friend told me, and I don't know the full details because of client confidentiality. But things have been going pretty well. What's up, guys? Mr. Edito here. So now for the big update. This update came out 2 months later, and you guys will not believe how it goes down. I hope you're enjoying this story. Here's the update. 2 months later. I guess I celebrated things a bit too soon when I said things were going well. She worked for over 2 months, earning money and sitting at home as we planned, and we're trying to live together, and things were not that bad when she started working. Get this. I knew she was making good money, especially with the season, but I did not charge her rent or food. All I asked was for her to help me with some admin once in a while. In the end, I stopped asking her to do that for me because I'd already found someone to help me. She was free to do with her money what she wanted to, but what did she do? It's something that I cannot forgive. I'm not the one that she wronged her own children. One day, I was on a call with my mom on my iPad when there was an incoming phone call. The iPad is one that the whole family uses, and we leave notes for each other and use it for calls as well. When my call with my mom was about to end, she was telling me how she was making a speedy recovery. I was so happy that my mom was recovering. That relieved some of my stress at least. Only for it to spike up when I saw the incoming call. I answered the voice call out of curiosity and started speaking to my sister's mother-in-law. This mother-in-law had accused my sister of being the one who set fire to the house. She also refused to help my sister with anything while she was grieving. I disliked her with a passion. I accepted the call and was about to tell her that my sister was not present, but she thought I was her. She thanked her for the money she sent for the gravestone. She said the amount, lo and behold, and it was the same amount that she'd sent her kids to get some new clothes and toys. This was stupid. My sister said that she hated that man and his family, so why was she doing this for them? They've never acknowledged her in the past. Even when they were married, they let him beat her and her kids. When she went to their house to tell them what happened, they sent her back to him. She was just entering through the door when the call dropped. I turned the iPad in her direction and showed her the name of her mother-in-law and asked her why she would do this. She said that it's none of my business, and she started shouting, telling me that it was a matter of her honoring her late husband and letting herself be healed. And so, like the fool I am, I just decided to shut up, thinking that I was being a bit insensitive. But here's the kicker. Our credit card bill came a few days later. It was for the credit card that we use for business expenses. It was always high, but this time it was above average by at least 80%. I checked everything with my bank and convinced that there was something wrong and someone might have used my card. After spending hours on the phone with the bank, I found the charge that made it such a large bill. And the date of the transaction was a day when she was helping me out at work and asked for money to buy some binders so she and my other admin employees could properly sort stuff. I gave her the credit card because it was a business expense, but she did something else with the money and I did not know what to do. My husband also had access to the card and he was going to check the statement when he paid it off. He was the one who handled finances, not me, and for some hours I thought of how to tell him. I was so mad at her. I sent her messages telling her to get back home immediately and pay back the money, but she wasn't responding. When George walked through the door, I knew from his expression that he knew and he was far from impressed. His first words were, "So, you and your sister think I'm a fool. I told you to tell her to leave." He's never raised his voice like this to me in all the years that we've been married. I tried to speak, but he told me that he could not look at me at the moment, and he asked where she was, and I said I did not know. He told me that he was going to smoke, then he left. That left me know that the situation was bad. Meanwhile, I was trying to call her boss, or anyone who might have seen her. I needed her to fix this. I mean, we had staff to pay, utility bills, rent, mom's medical bills. Even if we were to dip into our savings, those were for expanding our business, and I could not ask that of George. He was mad. I could see him outside pacing back and forth. He finished an entire packet of cigarettes and then went back indoors. I hated when he smoked, but it was best for me to stay out of his way this time. Then I heard the thud of something. I checked and saw that it was my sister's bag. There was no negotiation. I knew that we should have put her out a long time ago, but Mom told me to take care of her. If she found out that this was what was happening, then she would be so hurt. I started to beg him not to make such a rash decision. He told me that she'd become a freeloader and a liability. We already spent so much money on her, and we have not gotten it back. He said that the more she stayed here, the more we were going to be dragged into all her stuff. I didn't say anything. I was frozen, sad. My husband and I have been having more fights lately, and it's all because of her. After all, I risked for her. She dared to bite the hand that fed her. That night, he went out for a drive, and I struggled to sleep, and my sister did not come home. A day, 2 days, a week passed by. That was when I decided to call her workplace one more try and understand if she was maybe there. When I called, her boss was frantic, saying that she has not been there all week, and the place was a mess. Well, I started calling all the nearby bars, the police, the hospital, even the morgue. I felt all my strength slipping away with every call that I made. It was like she dropped off the face of the earth. Every call startled me. I hoped to hear that she was all right, and, well, then I got the call. She was not all right. She was detained after she's been caught stealing a large sum of money from somebody. She threatened a young woman who had a child in her own home and made them give her the money. She wasn't alone, though. She was with those girls I warned her about, the ones that I felt would be a bad influence on her. I found out more as I spoke to the officer, and the woman they tried to attack was the wife of one of their clients. I asked what she meant by clients, and she told me that my sister and those ladies were working girls. It was bombshell after bombshell as I fully realized the snake that I've let in my house. My husband came home right as I dropped the call and started hyperventilating. I felt the air was too hot, too little. My head felt like it's been hit by a sledgehammer, and it was like my tears would choke me. Finally, after nearly an hour of trying to get calm, I told him what she had done. He told me that it would be okay, that nothing bad would happen to me. He would take care of it. I told him that he should do what he could to save her, but it was impossible, that he had to do what was best. Then I spent the next few days getting bed rest, and I went to the clinic where I found out my blood pressure was through the roof. They managed to lower it, but I had so much on my mind. My mom, my business, my money, my sister, and the work she was doing. In the end, they had sedated me, and when I finally woke up, I was feeling less like my head was going to explode. I felt calm, level-headed, rational, and in a mode to protect and avenge. She did not care about anyone. She was a manipulator, and she was just waiting for us to save her. I asked my husband what was happening, and he told me she was facing deportation, but his lawyer was trying to stop it. He said that it was costing a lot of money, and he had to call in a lot of favors. I told him that we're no longer going to help her. In fact, we would assist in getting her deported. We would figure out another plan for the kids and mother. I did not go see her on that day that she left the country. There was nothing to say. Everything is broken. Maybe we can pick up the pieces and mend them, but if she stayed, then in the end, it would be dust. Trying to fix that would be impossible. Now, I have to figure out what I must say to my mom. There are no right words, are there? What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. So there's one final update for this story. It came out exactly 3 months after the last update, and you are not going to believe what's about to happen. Let's go ahead and jump right in it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that big red subscribe button underneath the videos, and here is the final update. The past few months have been bad, emotionally and physically. I've tried to fix everything the best I could and move on. I was wrong 3 months ago. I really thought there were pieces left to pick up. How naive. After my sister was deported back home, she told people that I and my husband have trapped her, and that she escaped by being deported. She had marks, no doubt self-inflicted, that she's accused me and my husband of putting on her. According to her, we made her a maid, a slave, and a punching bag in the months that she was here. So, she went to the nearest embassy to get help, and I did not know that these were the lies that she spewed when I made plans to go back home. I left George to take care of business. I wanted to tell my mom everything that happened with me. I took all the proof of all that she's done, just in case she tries to deny it. I wanted to do it in person, and I just felt it would be more gentle. Unfortunately, I got a late flight, and by the time I arrived, she had been home for several days. When I arrived, it was straight an ambush in my brother's house. They asked if this was what I planned to do to my mom if she agreed to come stay with me instead of Lily. I was lost until my aunt explained everything she told them. They called my sister, and she kept up the act to her credit. I couldn't stand it. She messed up and did not have the guts to admit it. She was always playing the victim, yet others were the ones who bore the brunt of her bad choices. Without thinking, I blurted out that she had been a sex worker. That was probably how she got those bruises. Then I said that she got deported because she was caught stealing from very dangerous people. And then my mom went down. Her ears were filled with horror 1 second when she was slumping beside Aunt Fatima the next second. I screamed and fought against hands and tried to pull me back. In my head, I was thinking, she's gone. She's gone, and Lily killed her. No, I did. I could barely see in front of me. I felt so dizzy. I told them to carry her to the car, and then I drove. The next morning, I had several speeding tickets, but I simply did not care. Every moment was precious, and we didn't have long. It could not be like this. She had yet to see my children. I wanted to buy her a house, and I wanted to show her the world. It was so maddening. It was a close call, but Mom survived. But the worst thing was that my mom is now paralyzed on the left side because she suffered a stroke. It was no surprise, as she's been battling a neurological disorder. I slept at the hospital until Lily woke me up, and I said these exact words to her. "Leave and keep walking. You've destroyed everything," and, well, she tried, but I pushed past her resistance. She tried to see Mom, but Mom did not want to see her, and with the speech that she had retained, she said that she did not have a daughter named Lily. We've all accepted it. Those are her wishes. I've not seen Lily since the day that I kicked her out of the hospital. Don't think that she regrets it. She continues to spin tales to earn people's sympathy. But no one's really interested in hearing what she has to say. For days, those rumors circulated that I was the villain, but that's it. People here are bored, and all they have for entertainment is other people's lives. As for my sister, last I heard she was working at a nightclub. My brother took custody of her children, and we'll be helping each other take care of them. I want to stay for some time while I get them enrolled in a very good boarding school. I wish I could take them with me, but things are a bit difficult at the moment. My mom's okay, she's recovering. I'll go back with her in a month or two. My husband, well, he's handling business well, so, at least, that's one thing that I don't have to worry about. I spoke about these things being emotionally draining, right? What I did not tell you guys, not even my husband this, is that the time when I was hospitalized for high blood pressure, I was told to be very careful in stressful situations. They said it would be best to avoid stressful situations altogether. That's why I chose to get her deported, knowing what she'll be getting into. The doctors said that if my high blood pressure increases, it might be harmful to my baby. I'm only telling you guys this because by the time I post, I'll already be back home with my husband with a surprise. That's what's kept me going. What forced me to finally cut her off was the fact that she was a danger to my baby. Imagine your own sister being a threat to your health. My mom's the first person that I told, and as soon as she was showing the signs of recovery, she cried tears of happiness and I hugged her for the longest time. There, that was the rainbow that comes after the storm. P.S. What's the best way to announce to your husband that ding ding ding, you're pregnant? I want to do something creative other than saying, hey, we have a bun in the oven. I can't even help but think that OP's mother is the one who struggled here the most. I can only think that stroke was much induced by all the stress that has overcome her, dealing with her daughter Lily, who is an absolute disaster, hanging around the wrong people, getting arrested, stealing, you name it, she was up to it. Not only that, but everything else combined with the story probably ultimately led to the stroke, which is very sad. But guys, let me just know your thoughts on this story. If you could drop your comments down below, or maybe even a similar situation story that you've gone through in your life that has something to do with this, I would love to hear about it. I would love to read it. So go ahead and drop all your thoughts and opinions down below. If you guys don't know who I am, my name's Mr. Reddito. I read stories every single day. If that sounds like something you're into, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I would love to have you guys here. Once again, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.